Well, I wanted to thank you for your support with my channel on the Vintage Tech. And this particular project was a real challenge and a lot of fun. It took me about 5 days to get all the way through the segments and repair in and out of the shack with various other things going on. And in any case, but if you'll watch it all the way through, you'll see a successful completion and a wow and flutter test at the end. So I hope you enjoy this repair of the Stuzzi FiCord 101S. Well, here we go. FiCord 101S added to the collection. Not sure what condition this unit is in. Guess we're going to find out here shortly. Oh, pull up the buttons. Okay, so it's push down, pull up, push down, pull up. Okay, could read the manual. This is a real gem, made in Switzerland, and has a speaker microphone right here. 1/4-inch tape, proprietary reels. And the tape comes up over this magnet to erase it. Very similar to another unit. Let me get that one off the shelf and I'll make some comparisons here. But just wanted you to get a look at this first. There's a, I assume that's a headphone jack. I don't know. I guess we'll find out and look at the manual here. And it comes with instructions and accessories, which is a real bonus because you don't usually get this stuff. And this is in remarkable condition. Very pleased with it. These also came, and we'll look at the accessory manual, but they came with an attachment, as you saw on my other videos, of the speaker, amplified speaker assembly that snapped on here somehow or another. I'm not sure how it snapped on, but we'll look at the probably this screw came loose and there was a little nut or something, but we'll look at the instructions, and this will probably clean up a little bit of grunge here and there, but I imagine that will clean up. The plastic is in beautiful condition. There's no cracks. You can see that it's a metal case, so it's very well made. Even the release here, as you can see, is a pin. I mean, look at that. Little details there that make a difference. The labels are all in place, and that chrome will clean up. So, this is a belt drive. There's the index that tells you where you are on the tape. Not sure what's going on here, but we'll discover that one together as well. This is the battery holder. Okay. Guess we could just go right ahead and put in a couple of batteries while we're here. 2 AA's. And that looks like a external power supply connector, which is kind of clever. We'll look at the manual and see. Okay, not sure. Did I get the batteries in right? Yeah. Well, okay, no motor. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look and see what we're missing on the instructions. This is the dictation slip that slides up in here. And we have that on the other tape recorders. I have some of those dictation slips you see here. The papers that slip up in there. Okay, we got the batteries in the right direction. Okay. The speed is 1 7/8, so it's pretty slow, but gives 30 minutes of recording time, or 48 minutes if you have record on both sides, or if you have a 30-minute tape or a 48-minute tape. Remember that the built-in playback microphone is essentially for your personal use. For transcribing, use the Stuthophone with volume control for several people, and for several people use the desk stand or a portable amplifier, which we have here. Not the one that came with the unit, which is, let's look at the manual. We'll see what we're talking about here. Okay, there's the Stuthophone, and I have those. And there's the portable amplifier that we were talking about that clips. Extremely practical. A suede pouch, which this is not the suede pouch. This is not an original case, but it's a camera case, I believe. But it does fill the need, doesn't it? And then there's a desk stand for the secretary. And there's tape. Tapes and mailing cartridges. So there's a long play tape, normal and long play, 2 times 15 minutes and 2 times 24 minutes. And this recorder is the 101S, which is a mono recorder, so you cannot flip the tape over. It uses a single track, and so it's only 24 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and open it up and find out what might be the issue here. I guess I could double check my batteries, right? Make sure I've got batteries that aren't flat, as the Englishers would say. Okay, that one's good. And that one's good. Okay, so we don't have flat batteries. And it looks like the pin down in the hole down in there is clean. So let's get this thing apart. See if we can open it up and find out what might be the issue here. And this is a dictation and espionage. It's small enough. Some writers stated that it was used in an espionage setting, so it's consistent with the collection of secret agent man recording devices. Okay, am I missing something here? Maybe this screw? I don't think so. No, that's just the screw that's removed for the portable amplifier. Maybe there's a screw inside here that's needing to come off. Oh, there we go. Just being stubborn is all. Gotcha. The cover is what's holding me up. Oh, I see. So, just pull that apart. There we go. Okay, now we got it. There we go. Okay, well, it looks like the belt is in place. Yeah, the belt's in place, but the motor is bound up. Whoops. Okay. Let's see if we can get the light. There's a motor speed control regulator lamp on these that listen, that should light up. Where is it? There it is, right there, the regulator. So we'll put on listen. Okay, it's not lighting up. So let's see if we can get that motor to turn. Maybe the motor's just bound up. Although I think I would expect that light to light up. Well, we got plenty of things to check here. We can check our battery connections, ground here and power here. We could have a bad switch. There's a lot of things that could be wrong here. So let's just okay, the motor is turning. You can see it. Yeah. Thankfully, the belt is still in one piece, because that belt, I would imagine, and there's another belt down inside there. I don't think you can see it, but there's another little belt that probably runs the counter. So I'm not convinced that we have power. So let's get the meter out. And let's see what kind of power we have here. And we got 3 volts. And we should have 3 volts back here. When the power's on. So let's push the power on. There we go. Okay. Okay, no power. And do we have a drop in power when we turn the switch on? Yeah, we do. Let's hook up these leads. Three volts. Let's push the power on. Drops to 0. Huh. Well, what happened to our power? Got a bad, dirty connection here? Looks like it. Yeah. 0. See, we got a bad connection here. Yeah, 0. Wonder what's going on. Okay, there's 3 volts. And then it just dies. And then it dies. You see there's 0 volts. Then if I adjust, there we go. I think we got corrosion here. Let's take this back out. That does look like it's corroded. Look a little better. And then we'll put some deoxit on it. Okay. A little on the threads. See if that makes any difference. No. Okay, so maybe we got a problem down here. What we can do is spray a little. I want this getting tangled up here. Come on. We spray a little bit of deoxit down in there. That could be making a bad connection there. We'll just put a tiny bit of spray down there. There we go. Well, no power on the battery. So which one is giving us trouble? Let's try putting this on the end of the battery here. Okay, that's good. So this must be the culprit. So there's probably a disconnect inside here. Let's take a look at that. There is a disconnect on the battery connection, so you can hook up a external power. There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, we got some pretty bad corrosion right there. See that? Bad corrosion right there. So that's why. There we go. So this is the external power, and that connection right there is corroded so bad it's just, I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty green. So we'll hose it down with deoxit and try to clean it up. Okay. All right, now we should jump to 3 volts here when we get this tight. Okay, now we got 3 volts. Now let's see if we got a motor. Okay, we're not dropping the motor out now. Okay. Oh, wow, nice. The motor's turning. Okay, rewinding. Is that the rewind? Forward and backward. And listen. Okay, the motor is turning, but the tape is not. All right. Yeah, it's turning. It's trying to. There we go. And look at the light here. Can you see it? Turn this off. Yeah, you can see it. See it's lit up there. Fast forwarding. Okay. But there's something binding that is preventing the, and I'm almost sure it's the counter that's tight. Although the counter is moving, if you'll look, let's try something. Let's try something. Maybe we have a spool bound up. Let's pull the tape out. Here we go. Let's see. We might have a gummed up tape. Let's see. Rewind. Fast forward, rewind. So that works. Fast forward, rewind, record, and play. We have to push those together. There's record. Okay. And the record puts the magnet in the path of the tape to erase the tape while it's recording here. All right, so we've got a motors running. That's a very positive sign. Sometimes it's running. See, it won't run there. Not sure why and what that clicking is. And this is, I'm not sure why that's loose and this isn't. So let's take this spool off. See if we've got something loose here. Oh my, that is so tight. I don't know if I can get it loose without breaking something. Let's see. Let's use this great big plumber's adjustable wrench here. Okay. There we go. Okay. That's good. That's good. See if it runs now. Yeah, so we still have something. All right, it's definitely this reel, not the rewind. The rewind wheel is spinning fine, see it? And there's no noise. But when we pull it into fast forward, okay, the rewind doesn't engage the counter. Notice in rewind, the counter doesn't turn. Notice here. Now it might, when this is turning, pulling the tape, it might reverse the numbers. Look at that. Let me get on the screen here. See that little dimple right there? Yeah. It's bound up. And so it's bumping the tape. That's going to be a problem for the quality of the recording and playback, because it's going to, the tape may give us a little bit of forgiveness since there's a medium between the pinch roller and the capstan, but this is simply take up. This isn't what actually pulls the tape through. This is just take up. All right, so we'll pull this board off and we'll look in there and see if we can see what's clicking. So let's do that. And this, by the way, let's see if we can fix this here. This is supposed to be snapped up inside this piece. And it just fell off, so we'll have to push that back together in a press. I've got a press over here. I can reconnect that. It's nice and tight. We just need to press it back together. So we'll fix that in a minute. But let's pull these. Let's pull this circuit board up. if we don't create problems for the drive mechanism with this board out of the way. There might be a switch or something in here, a micro switch or something that, no, okay, there's not. All right. Okay, now with that pulled out of the way, let's see what we get. Could be that this tire, or what is that? Is that a tire? Yeah, I wonder if this belt, or this drive wheel right here, let me zoom in. This drive wheel engages this time, the timer, and when I disengage it, see, I'm shoving this drive over this direction when I put it in pause. See, the counter is turned. When the counter's not turning, it's like this tire right here, that little black tire, it's got a flat spot in it. I can't see it, but let's stop the tape and see if we can zoom in there and see if we see any flat spot. Yeah, there's a flat spot right there. See it? Yep, that's it. And I think that's what we're hearing, growling. Yeah, I believe it was stuck in, well, it was turned off, and that sat for years, and there it is again. I'll see if I can get a reflection of light. Sorry, they're trying to get the camera to, yeah, there it is. See it? Right there. Right there. That is a indent that was pushed into this driven counter pulley, and also into the take-up reel. So it's the take-up reel and counter assembly that is ticking. So we might, I don't know, that is an awful thin piece of rubber / tire right there. You can see the notch in it right there. And then we have a notch in the pinch roller, which we identified right there. Right there's the notch. See it? A notch in the pinch roller. And that is really hard. That pinch roller is just hard. So we may, I honestly don't know how we're going to take a jeweler's screwdriver and pull that pinch roller out and take a look at it. I think we'll do that. If we can get that pinch roller off and replace it, I don't have anything that small of a rubber tire, but that definitely needs to be replaced. And I will say that the motor belt is running way down on the bottom of the shaft. So we need to adjust this motor just a little bit right here to get this belt to ride a little higher on the pulley, because it's dragging on the shaft a little bit, I think. Maybe okay, but it would be, I'd feel better if it was pulled up here, riding up here a little higher on the motor. So let's try adjusting. Let's see, what are we going to do there? That might be too much, but let's back it up just a hair there. Let's see what that looks like. All right, it's a little better. I can see down in there it's riding, not sliding against the thing. Let's try and just a little further. There we go. That's better. That looks a lot better. So it's not binding on the end of the motor there. Okay. Now, what I'd like to see, let's put this back together. Back together. There we go. Okay. And let's put the tape back in. We don't even know if we have audio. We haven't been able to test that yet. So, oh, well, we got to fix this, don't we? All right, well, I'm going to put that in the vise. What do I do with the vise? Underneath the pinch roller, there we go. All right, let's see how it does. Let's set it on the back of this so it's not binding. And we'll go into listen. There's one screw and one screw. And maybe these. I just want, well, I want the whole assembly to get out of there because I've got to get to this thing. Because we got to shave that notch out of that anyway, because that's what's making all the clicking sound. I can feel it now. Yeah, I can feel it clicking big time right there. It's binding up. So we know that's the clicking sound, and that's going to come in to the microphone when we record. If we have any audio, I don't know if they're caps or what. Okay, well, I won't bore you with all the details, but I did eventually pull all of the assembly out. You have to look around and figure out which screws come out. It's not rocket science. And that whole assembly lifts out, and I was able to access this transfer shaft here. And let's take a couple of close looks in the magnoscope. What we're looking at here is that transfer shaft that the belt runs on, and that's that tire that we were talking about that's bumping. And you can see the notch pretty clearly. So I decided to try to put some glue in there, and here I'm trying to smooth that glue out across that notch to fill that gap. Really didn't have the right glue, but I thought I'd give it a shot and see if this would work. And so I'm just smoothing that glue out now and trying to get it where after it dries it'll fill that gap. And in the interest of full disclosure, that glue doesn't dry hard. It dries soft, and So I tried filing it, and clearly that wasn't going to work. You can see here that I wasn't doing much, having much success with smoothing up the glue because it was just kind of peeling off. And so I ended up just digging that glue back off and trying something else. So then here I tried melting some 3D filament, soft filament, flexible filament into the groove and with a sharp blade, and actually it was successful. It melted and bonded itself to the rubber and filled the gap pretty nicely. As you can see here, the notch is gone. Okay, I've got the transfer shaft back and set in place there. You can see how it goes. There's a rewind pulley here, and this assembly pushes the shaft and controls the rewind, fast forward, and play. You can see the wide belt that I put on there. I was going to try that wide belt to see if that would work. It actually was the right length and fit beautifully on the unit, but what I discovered was that the belt rides too close to the edge of those two drums, and so it would bind up. So I needed a narrower flat belt in order to get it to work. So I had to take this all back apart, and but now knowing how to pop it out and put it back in, it was just a couple of minutes. And so I wanted you to see the assembly taken apart so you can see what's involved there in getting down to the belt replacement. Okay, we've got the unit put back together, and I put the old belt back on, but I cut the belt and removed, let's see if I can find the part that I removed, just a little piece. Right there it is. I removed this much of the belt and glued it back together with super glue end to end, and it's working beautifully. I had to work on the transfer shaft a little bit, as I mentioned earlier, but I've got the tape recorder running, rewind, fast forward, and play, and you can see it's running very smoothly and there's no clunking going on. So that's great. Record works. So let's rewind it and listen. I just recorded with the diamond studded microphone, and now I have the amplifier plugged in here. And sorry for the messy bench, just kind of been working on this a little bit at a time and then coming back to it. Sometimes that's the best way to work on this stuff. So I've got a mono cable plug here, which works better than my stereo plug that I had in it. So we've got
So let's see if we can get the audio section working now. We've got some capacitors to replace, most likely, and we'll just take it one step at a time until we get the unit working 100%. That's the end of this recording. Okay, now we're recording on the internal microphone, and I don't know if I have any audio from the internal microphone, but we're going to test it and see. So this will be a short recording. We just recorded on the diamond studded tape recorder, diamond studded microphone, and so now we're recording on the internal microphone of the FiCord 101.
all right, and that's erased. audio you're hearing on there. It's very weak audio from a previous recording, I guess. So, all right, so you hear the motor growl, and that's probably one of these caps. I don't know, there may be a cap on the motor control board, but we definitely have some motor growling that we need to correct. And but other than the motor growl, I think the audio is acceptable. And I haven't tested to see if I have audio on this side of the tape recorder, so I guess we could do that. Let's do that right now. Now I'm going to jump in here and just make a comment that the external audio connector there on the tape recorders connectors are different, and they use different studs than the ones that I had used for the 303 model. So I was not connecting to the right studs to check the audio. And you can hear, just barely hear, audio on the internal speaker. And I discovered that is a real problem with these units, that the audio is so poor on these speakers that you can't even hardly hear it unless you put it up to your ear. Okay, we don't have any audio here. And once again, I didn't have the audio connectors on the right terminals. As you will see later in the video, once I figured out which terminals actually play audio, we had audio back there.
Very encouraged by the way the unit is running right now. So let's see if we can get the audio section working now. We've got.
Okay. So we're making progress here. We may not need to replace all of these caps. There's about 4 on here on this board, and there might be a cap on this board, but it looks like the motor, yeah, the motor comes right onto this. You know what we could try, just for giggles, let's just put a cap across these motor leads right here, and let's just see if we can get it to stop growling. We'll try a 1 microfarad. That might be sufficient to get rid of that growl. And we'll just see if that makes any difference. Just positive and negative right there. All right, so let's just listen to it.
And so now we're recording on the internal microphone of the FiCord 101.
Okay, that's not making any difference there on those leads. So that's not making any difference right there.
Okay, we're recording on the FiCord, I don't know, and experimenting with trying to boost the audio. We've got a bad transistor,
And that was on a previous recording from a different tape recorder, from a different FiCord. So we'll pull this board off, and we'll look and see if there are any caps there that might be of a concern. And then of course we could have, and probably do have, some bad caps here. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. And I did clean the record playback head, and that seems to have helped. And I also fixed a notch. There was a notch in this tire. Let me see if I can find it. And it was catching and stopping the tape. So I just filled it with CA and then sanded it down. Since it's contacting the back side of the tape and just holding the tape up against the capstan roller, it doesn't need to have a rubbery grip. It just needs to be pressure against the tape to force the tape into the capstan roller. It's not a typical pinch roller that rides over the like this. If this were the pinch roller, the tape would ride inside and these edges would run on the capstan. So in any case, it's working fine. You can see the tape speed is pretty consistent. And of course, when we get this thing working 100%, we'll put it on the wow and flutter meter and see where we go from there. So just to recap, so far what we've done is we have fixed the transport issues. We've tightened the belt by shortening it slightly and re-gluing it back together. Readjusted everything so that all the pulleys touch in the right place when you've got the buttons engaged. And so the next thing we need to do then is check these caps underneath this circuit board. So we'll pull all this back off and we'll look at those caps and see if we can test those and get any improvement. I've got the unit apart again to change the caps. This has been like a 4-day ordeal. Not ordeal, but I'll get a few things working and then decide that I'm going to go ahead and change the caps. It's just a simple 3-transistor amplifier, and the reviewers of this device that have been checking these out for many, many years, since 1960, all state that the audio is pitiful. And so whatever, I haven't had that experience yet. The audio that I have have listened to on here is actually pretty good, considering a broken belt and corroded battery connector and whatever. But I wanted you to see the condition of some of these caps. So let me get the screen rearranged here a little bit so that you can see what we're doing. We've got the capacitor wizard here. We've got the ESR, equivalent series resistance tester, and we're just going to put it on a couple of these caps to see what we've got. Here's a 100 microfarad cap, and that one is about 2.5 ohms. Not great. We're going to replace it. This is a 5 ohm, 2.5 volt, a 5 ohm, 5 microfarad, and look at the needle. Just barely moves, not even, it's almost infinity series resistance, equivalent series resistance. So that one is for electrically open, which is bad. Let's check this one on here. This is another 5.4. I can't tell for sure, but it's over 1. And that one doesn't even move the needle. That one's not even bumping the needle. We'll check the one right here. Yeah, not even bumping the needle. And then we've got one more here. A 25 microfarad, 3 volt. Get on the leads here. Are we on the lead? Yeah. Look, the needle doesn't even bump. So these caps are for all intents and purposes. Oh, there's one more hidden underneath here. See if we can get our leads on it. 6 microfarad, and it's not even bumping the meter either. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 of the 6 are bad, really bad. So we'll replace those. I'm surprised that we had any audio and any recording on the device. There are no caps on the motor control board, motor speed control, so we won't have to make any changes there. But yeah, let's get these caps replaced on this audio board, and we'll see if that improves the buzz, gets rid of the buzz of the motor. I suspect that this 100 microfarad is the motor, the lead that, or the capacitor that filters the motor buzz out of the circuit. So hopefully we don't have a bad motor with bad brushes that causes that buzz. But we'll replace these 6 caps, and we should be able to get an improvement on the audio coming out of the little audio speaker here. Oh, there's a 7th one here I forgot about. Let's see if that one right there that goes to the headphone jack, and that could be in and out, a bypass cap for recording and playback. Okay, and look at the needle. Watch the needle. Yeah, it's just bumping barely. So it's way over 30 ohms. It might as well, for all intents and purposes, be open. So if that's a bypass cap and it's basically open, then there's no signal getting out of the microphone jack or signal getting back in of any real consequence. So I'm surprised we were able to actually record with the condition of the capacitors. So look, I have another cap here. Where did I do it? Here we go. And this cap is 2.2 microfarads. So we should be able to measure it. Let's see what we get on this one. And see, these aren't the very best caps. And look at that. This is a brand new cap, and look at the it's reading 5 ohms equivalent series resistance. So it's not a very good cap. I'm wondering, let's grab a couple more out of the box. We're going to replace the 100, so let's take the 100. $16-volt. I don't have any 3-volt caps, so I'm not going to worry about it. We'll put a 16-volt cap in. That will be this one right here. Let's see what the ESR meter says about this one. See, it shows it pretty good there if I can get the leads on it. Yeah, less than a half of ohm, less than a half ohm. So that's a good 100 ohm, 100 microfarad, and we'll use that to replace the big one here. All right, well, let me get busy replacing these caps. Remember, when you replace caps, you've got to pay attention to the polarity and the, can do this without breaking a bunch of wires. You've got to pay attention to the polarity, and the polarity on these is not immediately apparent. So you have to be really sure which direction you're going. You notice that this end of this cap has is crimped, and it has a plus there. Well, we don't know if this is the plus or if this is the minus. So typically the crimped end on these older caps is the plus, and we'll confirm that when we pull the caps off, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. See, there's a crimped end right in there, and there's a crimped end right here, and there's a crimped end right here. So let's see if we can roll this one back. Okay, see the plus mark? Right there. And it's on the crimped end. I don't see a polarity marking on this cap, but I'm pretty certain. We'll take it apart and look. But make sure you get them back the right direction. So the best way to do that, if the board's not marked with polarity, is to take lots of pictures, so that when you do them one at a time, and you don't take them all off and then replace them. You replace these one at a time. And I have learned, just like we had with this 100 ohm cap right here, wherever I put it, the ESR in this 100 ohm cap that's brand new, not 100 ohm, I keep saying ohm, 100 microfarad. This is a 2.2, and look at the ESR on it. Not too great. See, it's almost 6. Let me see if I got another 2.2 here. 2.2 microfarad. Here's one. See if this one's any better. Three ohms. So it beeps at 3 ohms. So that's okay. It's not fantastic. But my point is that you need to check them before you put them in. And you try to get a lower ESR. And that's the goal, get a lowest ESR cap. These are super cheap Chinese caps. And I'm getting what I pay for on these. This is Nichicon, and these are super cheap and not very good quality. But we're rebuilding a vintage tape recorder that's never going to be used outside of this shop and this video. So, whatever. We're not going to lose any sleep over putting some inexpensive caps in here. At least if I can get it to run long enough in my lifetime, it'll be somebody else's problem. All right, I'll be back when I get the caps replaced. Okay, I've got several caps replaced, and 2 more to go. See them right there. 2 more to go. And hopefully this will clear up some of the audio issues. Got it all back together, and the new caps are in, and everything is reassembled and ready to go. So let's put the cover back on here and get her fired up. Okay, we've got the FiCord S101 finished, repaired, and working beautifully. And here is the newer model, the 303. So you can see a little difference in the buttons. The 303, I think I mentioned earlier in the video, had a volume control. This particular model, the 303AF, I think it's called, had a sensitivity switch for the microphone, the built-in microphone, for a noisy room or quiet room kind of thing. And the battery compartment, you can see the battery compartment. And I've done some videos on these complete repairs. They use the same size reels, and the supply reel has the extra, has an extra size piece. I'll pull it here. This is probably easier to pull out. Has this insert that is special to the FiCord series, and has the speaker and microphone, just as we've been playing with all this time, speaker and microphone, and had a counter. And this one has the counter. This is resettable, of course, and but this one is not externally. You have to adjust the setting of the tape by the counter by moving this reel. So you can take this reel off and then just spin it to come to 0 on the tape. So it has the index card holder, which we were talking about earlier. So you can put the little index card in there. And the same with this FiCord. This card holder was a little bit peculiar, and I don't know if there's a secret to getting this. I don't know if we hold, if this comes up and puts in there, or if that has anything to do with it. It seems like you would hold that up slightly and it would slide up inside the catch. But in any case, yeah, there it goes. That's it. That's it. So flip that up a little bit, pull the card out, and give that card and the tape to your secretary to transcribe the audio. A little difference in the ends here. They look the same, but the audio on this one are these two connections. The audio on this one are these two connections, and this is battery. So a little difference there. Similar button convention, 3-button control, and a little different, slightly different. So let's demo. Oh, here are the caps that we replaced. 7 of them. And all right, so let's oh, one other big difference was the improved speaker, built-in speaker. So
Get what kind of recording we're getting now. Let's back this up and wrap up this recording.
and so this turned out beautifully, this recording, and you can hear the speaker on this one. However, the speaker on this is almost virtually undetectable, and that was an issue with the 101S. You could just barely hear the audio. We know that the Element is okay because we can record on it, and we're going to do a test here in just a minute to illustrate the audio. Interestingly enough, FiCord originally started with a standard 3.5 millimeter microphone jack and audio jack, but then they switched to this proprietary plug, which I had to create one of these plugs. It has forks on it, and they got away from the 3.5. The reason behind that was that they wanted to do a remote control setup with this, that you could plug an expansion cord in here and do, it had a microphone with the remote control functionality on the microphone to start and stop the tape deck and all of that. So that was what they were after. And they were trying to keep up with, 1962, 63, 64, with the advent of cassette tapes. It was just, these were, in fierce competition with cassettes, and obviously they didn't make it. Cassettes took over. But let's see. So let's do a, I've already recorded, but we'll just do a recording here. We're going to jump right on top of whatever's here, and that will start at 18 on the counter, and we'll push record, and we're going to record directly into the microphone, the built-in microphone, and we're talking into the microphone on the FiCord 101S single track tape recorder. Okay, we didn't have much there, but let's see what it sounds like. Okay, you can't hear it on the speaker, so let's rewind it, turn the little portable amplifier on. Let's back this up just a hair. And let's see if we can hear that recording.
We're going to record directly into the microphone, the built-in microphone, and we're talking into the microphone on the FiCord 101S single-track tape recorder. Once again, we're talking on the external diamond-studded, gold-clad lapel microphone. We also discovered that the end of the tape deck has 3 terminals. And
All right, so that is a beautiful recording from where we came from, with no transport working at all, and then the audio was in very bad condition. One other thing I wanted to show you that I discovered along the way that may help somebody is that the corrosion, remember we started out with fixing this adapter, power adapter, where you could plug in external power here. We had a buzz in this motor. I could not get rid of the buzz. I'd replaced all the caps, and demagnetized the head and cleaned the head, and I didn't know what else to do. So this is what we were getting. Let's see that.
And the right terminal, as you look at the end of the tape deck at the terminals.
All right, I'm not going to be able to illustrate it because the corrosion is gone now, but it had a terrible buzz over the audio even after all this repair, and I accidentally stumbled on some corrosion here that was creating some kind of a problem with the audio and the motor and everything. But you can see, listen.
The middle terminal and the right one are the audio out, and the right terminal.
There's no motor buzz there now, and there were in some of the previous recordings. I don't remember if I recorded it on the camera here for you to hear, but in any case, I've eliminated all that buzz, and I'm very, very pleased with the final product with the FiCord 101S. Yeah, I figured out what this little connector is. This is not for external power. This little connector is the remote control plug. So what you would do is you get the external microphone, and the external microphone came with a switch. You had the microphone plugged into here and the switch part of the microphone plugged into here. So it was a little two-corded, two-plug unit. So when there's nothing plugged into that, the unit plays and records whatever you have it set on. And then when you plug the switch in, it shuts it off. And then when you get ready to, let me get something to short this. When you get ready to record, you push the button on the microphone, and that shorts these terminals and turns the tape deck on and off. So it's not an external power connector, it's a remote control switch. All it does is interrupts the battery power on the plug there and allows you to run it with remote control. So that's what that little connector is. It's not a battery connector. It's a remote control receiver for the remote control microphone, which let's just take a look and see if that microphone shows the chords. And it probably tells us that in the manual, but you know how that goes. You don't read the manual. 11, it's called the battery screw cap. But let's see if it says something about the battery screw cap. Record time, counter, make corrections, reverse. And it probably, when you bought the external microphone. Okay, here we go. For use of external microphones, any previously recorded on is automatically erased. Do not leave the black button pressed down. when pressing either of the two other buttons, as this will erase the tape. Yeah, well, whatever. Okay. So yeah, the manual doesn't say anything about the control, but let's look and see if the accessories mentions it. Lapel microphone. There it is. Okay. When it's necessary to remove, general purpose. For interviews, take a table microphone, record small conferences. We'll see there's the switch. And I'm sure the cord came out and had 2 little plugs on it. Obviously, that's what it does. So this is the FiCord that we're going to look at in more depth. This is the one that followed the unit. And it had its own unique plug that you can see here. It had a special, these special looking, funny looking cords on the ends of them. I don't see, yeah, so this wouldn't talk about that connector, but that's what that's all about. Okay, we've got the wow and flutter meter here. We're going to test the FiCord 101. We've got the wow and flutter meter. We're inserting the 3000 hertz tone into the unit and have recorded a few seconds of the 3000 hertz tone. And now we're going to observe it on the scope and watch it on the wow and flutter meter. So I've rewound it. And so let's push play, and there we have what was supposed to be is a 3000 hertz tone. We have a tone because we've got a green light now. We're on the 1% scale, which is the top scale, and you can see that currently we're at about 0.5% wow and flutter on a weighted scale. We can take it off the weighted scale and it puts it right about 1. Let's jump up to 3. And it's a little over 1 right there. And then the signal improves as the unit plays. It begins to stabilize a little bit. And the wow drops off to around 0.6. Kind of jumps around there. You can see the percent of drift from 0. If it were perfect, it would stay on 0 and not bobble back and forth. So the speed is increasing and decreasing by this percentage, anywhere from 3 to -3% slow to +3% fast. So it's a little unstable. You see the wow jumping around, and then the flutter, it's a little higher. It's almost 1% flutter. And but a little less than 1%, which is actually pretty surprising on the rubber condition. Okay, we're at the end of our audio there. So the condition of the belt, the pinch roller, and the transmission line, that one little thing that we looked at on the camera, is not perfect either. If I replace those, if I could replace this and replace that little flat tire on this unit, we'd probably get a much better wow and flutter rating. But just wanted you to see the wow and flutter on this unit before we finish this video out. So thanks again for watching the Vintage Tech.